Coming at you live with COD Mobile News, it's Wits YT. Yeah, I bet that's how you thought it was going to go, but we're going to do something a little bit different here today.
Before we get into that, do me a quick favor and smash that sub and turn on the notifications bell.
Alright guys, in all seriousness, we're here to talk about Stage 5 of the COD Mobile World Championships. So now we're going to take a minute to recap some of the action that sort of led us to where we are right now.
With Stage 4, the regional playoff. 5 regions in North America. What's on the line, you ask? $75,000 and a ticket to Stage 5.
YSL, they just had a little bit of a hard time trying to warm it up, and for Team Mobility, it was the exact opposite. They just heated up by the end of day 1.
Yeah. The tribe is in the positive in the KDs for the search and destroy, but
I don't know if you're dizzy, but I sure as hell am. So after what was a long, hard-fought battle between the 8 teams of North America, only 4 remained.
They went in there for the rotate. Not only were they going in there for the points of the next hardpoint, contesting it as well, and they just have control
From Mayhem, spawning so far away.
The setup is near picture perfect right here for Mobility. Just comes down to can you win the gunfights on the break attempt for Mayhem as they've soaked up every final moment of the last hill. Here comes the hit. A lot of it on both sides at once. The deal is all right, but largely speaking, Mayhem are still in position to block spawns. Just comes down to can you find the last player in Ingenic, and they sure do. Now the focus goes towards the front. Mayhem flipping the spawns around with that also almost exactly in synchronicity is going to be with the hill. And now for Mobility, shoes on the other foot. How do you break on it?
Oh, Claps couldn't really get that kill, and yes, he waited for the rest of his teammates, but we need to see a pinch happen.
So after a series of unfortunate mishaps like shown above, the future for Mobility was looking
25
grim.
seconds and you're giving this up?
Needless to say, after an excruciating battle, unfortunately, Mobility wasn't able to make it through with the other 3 teams. And as you can imagine, other teams involved in this didn't have the same experience, sending NYSL Mayhem, what is now Luminosity, and Tribe Gaming to the 5th round of the World Championships. So before I wrap the video up today, I will be planning to make a part 2 where I will go a little deeper into the details and also touch upon the different teams that are going to be showcased from different regions. I was extremely fortunate this morning and was able to touch base with Tribe Tectonic to ask him a few questions. I'm going to include that now.
To play in the hard point 130.
Hey Tech, really appreciate you taking the time to answer a couple questions with me. Being the #1 North American seed, how do you expect the tournament to sort of play off? Where do you expect to place? And also, is there anybody that you're sort of looking forward to playing against or learning from?
I guess you could say, you know, top 3 is kind of expected, and it's kind of top heavy. And I guess whenever I think about teams that I want to play against, say Garena and China.
Like, it's always been those teams that people are like, yo, you can't beat those teams. So it's like, yeah, I want to try and beat those teams.
I completely get that, man. The second that somebody tells you that you can't do something, you want to do it even more. I found that a lot in my life as well, where it's like, don't tell me that I'm not going to be able to do it or that I can't accomplish it because I'm going to prove you wrong.
Right, that is.
So to sort of provide some insight to people that might not know the team or know the team well in terms of how you guys operate from within, could you sort of explain everyone's role or dynamic? Someone is likely an IGL, etc.
Yeah. IGL, you know, if every time someone thinks about IGL, they go to Bolo. Bolo's IGL. I'm support. Vague and Marshy is subs. And then Jez is our flex. The thing about anchoring and codm currently is it's always group spawning, so it's always scuffed as fuck to try and like hold spawns and actually properly anchor. So, but that would be the roles that we have.
Now, is there any sort of advice that you could impart to maybe someone that's either stuck in terms of growth, or maybe a kid that's much younger and he follows you and he's trying to figure out how to get to be where you are and aspires to be as good as you and other members on your team and other teams that are comparable?
The one thing that I always try to advise people, and even my teammates, like to this day, you know, you gotta treat codm like a job. You have to put the time into it, and the only way that you get better is by actually playing the game. Something that a lot of people don't, you know, they're just like, oh, just play the game more, you know, that's so basic. But it's like, the more you play, the better you get. It's just by human nature that way, you know? That's like the thing.
So, being a three-finger player myself, is there a specific HUD layout in terms of how many digits that you're using that you feel would be more successful? I ask this question often just because I'm interested to see what different people think, especially somebody playing at your level. You know what I mean?
3 is pretty successful. Any sort of class of 3 to 5, like you see, China even does like 6, which is insane. Jez is like a three-finger player. You know, he plays at a high level. Playing on thumbs, it's super difficult. The only player I've ever seen to actually do that is like Hacks. Like other than that, like it's almost impossible. So what I'd recommend is 4 fingers, because if you're gonna do 3 fingers, just add the 4th. You know, give yourself a little bit more variety. But any sort of claw from 3 to 5 is pretty good. But if you're gonna do comp, like 3 to 4 is probably the best, because 5 and 6 is like so much on your screen already.
Hey man, I just really wanted to thank you for taking the time to sit here and answer a few questions with me and let me get to know you, especially at this time. I think I speak on behalf of everybody watching, where we wish you the best moving forward and hope you do extremely well in the championship.
Thank you, man. It means a lot. Later.
Guys, if this doesn't show dedication to the craft, I don't know what does. I stay up late, I wake up early, I do what I have to do in order to get information on this channel. With that being said, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I would not mind if you shared it with a few friends. I would really appreciate it. I'd like to say a big thanks to Tribe Tectonic. It was an absolute pleasure getting to speak with him this morning. Thank you so much for your time, and roll the outro.
It's YT.